on, right on. Now, at this show, the Bluecoats debuted their new closer. They posted about it on Facebook, and it said, "Tonight we debuted the coda of the Observer effect, featuring a new composition, Endlessly Basson Lux. In this section, we use an effect called side chaining, where one sound is triggered by the level of another sound. Using side chaining, we're able to use drum set and battery instruments to trigger the brass chorale being performed live in a variety of ways from the opposite side of the field. This was inspired by the concept of quantum entanglement, where two particles can become linked together regardless of the distance between them." If I may pause for an editorial. Unpause. This is a technique Sonlux uses in many of their pieces. So in that Facebook post, they linked to a video by Ian Chang, and they said, go watch this if you want to learn about it. So what did I do? I went and watched this. And he refers to it as side chain gating. Now, if you know anything about how a mixer works, it has to do with the gate, all right? But Ian Chang also says that, and also one of my friends, shout out to one of my friends who's in the biz, the commercial sound and music biz. This is not new. Like, this is new to drum corps, new-ish to drum corps, but trance and techno music have been using this effect before. For how long, I don't know. But when Ian Chang was talking about it in the video, I was like, oh yeah, I've heard these effects before. I don't know that they were utilized the same way that Ian Chang was in his video, or that the Bluecoats are using it on the field. But this idea of sidechain gating is not new. But apparently it was called trance gating. It's called that in the biz, but Ian is not 100% sure, that that's the term they use to describe it. And so I asked one of my nerdy audio fans. He's a fan. I said, hey, can you explain what this really is? And he says, do you know what a gate is? Yes, gating, all right? Do you know what a mixer is? Yes, obviously. So basically, it's like an auto mute button, all right? Except where the signal mutes if it's a certain strength or higher. So it doesn't turn on if the signal strength isn't at a certain point. So it's always gonna play, and you may hear something, you may hear nothing at all, but it doesn't unmute until a signal reaches the mixer that says, oh, unmute it, and then it unmutes it. Once the signal reaches it, it unmutes. When it drops below, it will mute it again. So for example, if I say, I don't want to hear a sound until I hear a decibel, this is my version, this is not from my friend, but I want to hear something this loud. If I was to be humming a sound, it wouldn't come out until this happened. So it'd be like this. Up, 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 up. But the other stuff would always be playing. You just wouldn't hear it, right? And so here's another example. See this microphone? If we had 2 microphones, or if you saw a podcast that had 4 microphones, sometimes we turn on a gating effect in the mix. And usually in the final mix down, where if this mic is talking, it mutes the other microphones so you don't pick up miscellaneous extraneous noises, coughing, drinking, etc. So you have to reach a certain point of talking. It's usually a decibel, a level. If this person starts talking and I'm talking, these 2 mics are on, these are not. If it's the 1 and 4, like basically it turns the mic on to catch that and it turns it off so it doesn't pick up bleed over of my voice into it, or again, like coughing or sneezing or anything like that. It focuses on that. So it's basically like that, except it's not talking, it's playing. So the whole thing, again, called side chaining, instead of using the level from the actual mic, in this case, in the Bluecoats case, the horn mics, to trigger the unmuted of the gate, you use a different input, in this case, the drum mic. So remember I was doing this? If this is the drum and my mouth was the brass chorale is playing. In fact, you will hear it because they're playing in the back of the corner towards the end zone and towards the back stand. So you hear a little bit. And then you hear da-ga-da, da-ga-da-da, and then you hear da-da-da, 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 but you'll always hear the chorale in the background. So you'll hear this warm lushness. Probably, I don't know what dynamic level they would play that. I imagine it's not like fortissimo, because the volume, the effect comes from it pumped out of the speakers. So they're probably playing mezzo forte at best. The percussion have to play a certain dynamic level because not everything they play will trigger the brass chorale. And that's the other thing you have to understand is if you set it for only rim shots, I'm just guessing, only rim shots on the drums will trigger the unmuting. That means you can still go and the only time the brass chorale would come out were Now that's just me simplifying it and guessing if it was set to that. It's more than likely set on like a forte fortissimo. So if you ever have these low 3/6 inches, that kind of stuff, when you get to 9/12 full extension, that's when it's going to trigger to hear the brass chorale. So it's science, it's acoustics, it's signals, it's all kind of things. It's physics, it's drum corps, but it's also electronic music. So the brass chorale, again, basically whole notes, if not half notes, maybe some moving notes here and there. All the rhythmic drive and rhythmic intent comes from the battery, who then triggers the mixer to mute and unmute at various times, thereby hearing the rhythm triggering look, it's a whole thing. Watch that Ian Chang video if you're interested in it. Bluecoats, link to it, and just watch the Bluecoats. Now, there are a lot of people that will say, "Oh, I didn't get it. It wasn't that effective to me." Well, you were watching it on a video, probably, right? You're watching it. I watched it on a video last night, and I was like, oh, that's okay. But then when you read the explanation and when you dig deep and you find out what it's supposed to be and what it's going to end up being, you have to assume that it's going to be way better, way cooler live. Watch the video and then go see it live because you'll probably get a way bigger effect and you'll understand it and you'll appreciate it way more. Also, it probably has to do with where you're sitting in the stands. If you're sitting on the 10 or the 15, it may not be as cool for you. I mean, that's the reality. If you're sitting on the back stands, you're just going to hear a chorale. So from a really good seat, from a better vantage point, you're going to hear the different gates, which are the low brass, the mellow, and high brass. They'll be opening at different times or muting/unmuting at different times, creating different rhythms. Some might say polyrhythms, some whatever. But regardless, it's all super duper cool. It's amazing. I'm excited about it. I can't wait to see and hear it live this week. After all of that, Aiden, what'd you think of Bluecoats' new closer?
This is a completely unbiased. This is strictly my opinion. I love it. I think it's beautiful and unique. I think they are once again kind of pushing the activity with how and what you can do on a field and what we would possibly think is impossible. Sounds so great so early on. I love the Bluecoats. I'm gonna forever glaze the Bluecoats, but I really think what is going on is beautiful, and I am so excited to see what they continue to do and how they're gonna wrap this all up, especially for finals. It's just amazing. And if you haven't watched it, try to find a way, or just tune in Flow Marching, something. It's amazing.
It's obviously what the Bluecoats and Ryan Lott, Sunlux have been building up to the last few years when they announced their residency and their collaboration and all that stuff. So this is the culmination of that. I'm very excited because it looks like it truly is a collab in every sense of the word of writing and working together. And I want you to use things that I use on my electronic music or my pop music, whatever you refer to it. I wanted to do this as opposed to I'm just going to arrange this and make it work. Like, super cool. It's super exciting. And one last thing that Ian Chang gave an analogy in case all of the stuff I just talked about or all the stuff you read is very confusing. He said, imagine a saxophone, one saxophone, but it's being played by two different people. All right. So you have person A, person B, you have one instrument. Person A is fingering all of the notes. You don't hear anything, right? It isn't until person B blows through the saxophone that you hear the notes. So in essence, in this particular analogy, the brass, they're fingering all the notes. The battery, they're blowing through the instrument so you can actually hear it. So a whole lot of crazy, a whole lot of physics and math and electronics and fantastic stuff. Consider me excited. This is just like kinetic noise, just like a lot of the stuff that they've been doing over the last number of years. Incredibly groundbreaking and innovative for the activity. And to me, that is exactly what a champion in a championship show should be doing, is pushing the activity. And Bluecoats they're pushing it. They're pushing it. Of course, some people don't like that, but that's okay. They probably also didn't like Superman, the movie, the new one, the one that just came out. It's great.